Hi, and congratulations on the purchase of your beautiful new 2018 SV Tech Edition Rogue. I'm going to go over some of the features that we went over during delivery. I know that there was quite a bit to go over as this is a very feature-intense vehicle. So, if you have any questions that you're just not comfortable calling, texting, or emailing me, or dropping in the dealership, or maybe you're just out and on the go and on the hurry, if you want to refer back to this video, I hope it covers off everything that you're looking to find out. And I hope it's as helpful to you as it is to everybody else. Look forward to seeing you again, and with that, let's have a look at some of the features on this beautiful Rogue. So here we are on the inside of our Tech Edition Rogue. We often refer to it as the Tech Edition, even though it is the Technology Edition. It's a mid-level trim on the Rogue. It does have 17-inch alloy rims, fog lights, auto headlights, and a pile of other features. We're going to go over a lot of that right now, and before this video is done, we'll have a look at the outside and a couple of the features that we have out there. However, we're going to start here at the steering wheel because this is where the bulk of the features that you're going to use are located, strictly because this is where you're going to spend the most time when you're in the Rogue, is right in front of the steering wheel. So with that said, on the right hand side of our steering wheel, we've got our Bluetooth hands-free. This button here is to answer calls or to hang up calls, or if you want to make calls, you can hit that as well. This is our voice recognition button. So the voice recognition will work with the system that's in place, whether you want to go through and do navigation or anything else, and we'll hit this just so that we can see what happens over here.
Please say or select a command. Canceling voice recognition.
So from there, you can do audio, you can do navigation, you can do a variety of features. You can make a call. I do want to let you know that the phone functionality for that portion does not work if you are connected to Apple Carplay. We'll get into that in a couple minutes and how to get around that. Very, very simple. Apple Carplay and Android Auto will not allow the Bluetooth hands-free to work, but there is all kinds of ways to do it, and it is just as simple to do what you're looking to do. Next up, we have our cruise control. So the cruise control on the Rogue, on the Tech Edition, if we look at the top of our screen up here, as I turn this on, we see an icon show up there. So this icon has a car with some lines underneath it. This is because we have intelligent cruise control. So the intelligent cruise control here allows us to set a distance of 1, 2, or 3 car lengths. To turn that off, if you don't want that on while you're driving, instead of just pushing the button to turn on the cruise control, which as we see shows the car, I'm going to push and hold for 2 seconds, and it changes to the old style icon for the cruise control. So now, as we see up there, there is no more lines underneath the car, and if I hit the button here, there is no more distance set. So that's how you can go through and set it either for the intelligent cruise control or regular cruise control. From there, you either just set, resume, or cancel, and that works for either one. By default, every time that you turn this off or turn your vehicle off, when you turn it on again the next time, it does go back to the original setting there. On the other side of the steering wheel here, we have all kinds of buttons. So we're going to start here. We've got the volume for our radio. This is super simple to work. Works very well, as you hear. These 2 buttons here will actually go through the presets on your radio. So any of the presets that you have set, and you can set 12 of them on FM, you can set 18 of them on satellite radio, which comes free for the first 3 months, or it will skip tracks on Bluetooth, as well as CD, auxiliary, or USB. We have our back button here, which is used for some of the screens on the display up top here. So the OK button with the arrows around it is for our driver assist display. Right now we're on the trip odometer. There's a trip 1, and if I hit down, there's a trip 2. If I go to the next screen, I've got my fuel economy. Again, there is a 1 and a 2. Now, if I change this to 2 and I go back, my trip odometer is also on 2. If I go back to 1 on this one, it's back to 1 on the other one. It is a 1-to-1 correspondence, so whatever one it's on one of them, you're going to be on that on both. We'll go to the right again, and we see a compass. So the compass will always be there unless you've engaged the navigation, at which point it will show you an arrow and the direction that you're going to be turning, as well as a distance until your next turn. And that distance will continue to count down until you get to the turn itself, at which point it'll change to the next turn. Our next screen over shows what's going on with the radio. So right now I'm on FM, and as you see I'm on preset 2. So I'll show you right here. If I hit this button, I head over to preset 3 and 4 and so on. Now while I'm on the screen on the bottom it says OK source. So if I hit the OK button, it changes the source over to satellite radio. And again, I have presets available throughout this. If I hit OK again, I go to Bluetooth, and then auxiliary, AM, and back to FM. If I have something plugged into the USB with music on it, that becomes an option. The same if I have a CD in, that becomes an option as well. So you can control everything to do with your radio right from your steering wheel without having to let go or without having to take your eyes off the road. It's a fantastic feature. Next screen over is for my intelligent cruise control. So if I turn this back on, right away I see I've got a distance of 3 car lengths set. Then I can go through and I can change that. And when I set it for the older style cruise control, I don't see any lines show up. This tells me that I'm just in regular cruise mode. So our next screen over is related to our safety shield. So the safety shield, you have automatic emergency braking in the front of this vehicle. What that does, if the vehicle in front of you suddenly brakes or you're closing that distance far too fast, the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot and it's going to beep at you inside the vehicle. If you don't react, that beeping is going to get louder and faster, and it will apply the brakes for you if you don't avoid the oncoming collision. So you either need to hit the brakes or you need to get out of the way of the vehicle that you're quickly approaching, or else the Rogue is going to apply the brakes for you to avoid you getting into an accident. We also have blind spot detection with that. So over here, and it's a little hard to see due to the sunlight, but we do have an indicator up here on each side of the vehicle. A little easier to see over on that side, but not much. Those blind spot indicators will light up a dull orange when you have a vehicle in your blind spot, whether you're passing it or it's passing you. If you have a blind spot indicator that's on, so let's say for example the driver's side indicator is on, if you signal to go left while that indicator is on, that indicator is going to start flashing and it's going to start beeping at you from inside the vehicle to let you know you do have a vehicle in your blind spot. This is a great feature in case your shoulder check, you miss it, or for whatever reason you don't see it right away. This allows you to know that there is a vehicle in your blind spot and it's not safe to pull over in that lane. Our next one across is the tire pressure. So we see here, while you're parked, it says that the tire pressure will appear while driving. I have driven far enough in this so that the tire pressure has appeared in all 4 wheels. The base default on this is 33, as we see in the center. Now, 4 tires do show different pressures. They're all in an acceptable range. You would prefer to have them all at the same numbers, but as long as they're within 1 or 2 of each other, you're perfectly fine. If you do get a low tire, you're going to get a warning that's going to pop up and tell you that you have a low tire. Once you clear the warning simply by pressing OK, the screen will show you exactly which tire is low and what the pressure is in that individual tire. From there, when you go to the garage, put the hose on your tire to start filling the air into the tire, and when it gets to the right tire pressure, your car horn is going to beep once to let you know that you're done. If you continue to put air in, when it hits the upper limit, it's going to beep 3 times. You really do need to stop at that point or you risk damaging your tire. Our next screen over shows me whether I'm in all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. So your Rogue is an intelligent all-wheel drive. What that means is as you start to pull away, it's going to be in all-wheel drive. And this line on the top will drop down to 50% and the line on the bottom here will increase to 50%. As you get going, it's going to drop down to front-wheel drive. So everything's going to move back up to the top line. If you hit conditions, whether it's a large hill and you need extra power, or you run into any traction conditions, whether it's slippery roads, hydroplaning, loose gravel, whatever the case may be, it's going to automatically kick in the all-wheel drive. And you'll see this line change so that the top line drops down, the bottom line starts filling up to get a 50-50 split between your front and back wheels. This feature goes hand in hand with the all-wheel drive lock that we have down below here. You can lock in the all-wheel drive and it will stay locked in up to 40 kilometers per hour. Once you get to 40 kilometers per hour, it is going to kick off the all-wheel drive lock and still drop down the front wheel, but it will still kick back in automatically under any of those conditions that I mentioned. And it will do that all the way to 145 kilometers per hour. Now, that gives you an all-wheel drive in any conditions that you're going to run into legally in Canada. We have nowhere around here that you can drive 145 kilometers per hour, so there should never be a circumstance that you run into where it won't kick in. Our next screen over shows any warnings. So I mentioned that you would get a warning if your tires are low, you get a warning if your windshield fluid is low, or if you have a door that's not shut. Any number of things that can cause a warning. You will get a yellow exclamation mark show up right around here. You can clear that warning simply by pressing the OK button. However, you can come back to this screen to see what they are. And if there's multiple warnings, it will list them that you can cycle through them. To clear the warning, and I'll show you here, so I'm intentionally going to open the door. So there's my warning. I'm going to clear this off so that I can still go through other screens, but when I come here it says warning 1 of 1. This shows me that my front driver door is open. To clear the warning, simply close the door. There is nothing else that you need to do to make the warning disappear. Our last screen over is our settings. The only setting I typically change in here is for the locking. By default, our vehicles automatically unlock the doors when you put the vehicle into park and then turn it off. Most people prefer so that it unlocks when you put it into park, even though the vehicle is still running. So what I do is I come down to the vehicle settings, I go into locking and then into auto door unlock, and I change it so that when you shift into park, the vehicle automatically unlocks. With that said, and I'm using the back button to come back out of those screens, I do highly encourage that you check out the different settings that you have on your vehicle. For instance, under the meter settings, I can go into the body color, and because I'm in a blue Rogue right now, I can set the body color to blue. So there's a lot of different things in the settings that you can go in and check out, and feel free to do that, and don't worry about messing anything up, because the factory reset on the bottom will reset everything right back to the way it was just before you picked up your Rogue. And again, even based on this video, you can go in and fix the locking so that it automatically unlocks when you put it into park. Next up, we're going to have a look at some of the buttons down on the left side of the dash. So on the dash here, up at the very top, we've got our brightness setting for our dash when the lights are on. We've got a trip reset. So this trip reset is pertaining to very bottom here where we've got our odometer. Now the odometer currently says 45 kilometers. If I just push the trip reset and let go, I see a trip A and a trip B, and I can reset them simply by holding the button and then back to the odometer. These two trips are separate from the trip odometer that shows up on your driver assist display. They're all independent, so realistically you have 4 trip odometers. Also down here on the dash, we've got our traction control. I highly recommend just leaving this alone. Most people tend to turn this off when they're stuck in some snow. Your wheels will spin a little faster so that you'll get a little more push. However, you're also going to slide from side to side, making it very dangerous. So if you're not familiar with that, I highly recommend just leaving it alone. This button is for our power liftgate. So if I push and hold that for 2 seconds, there's some beeping outside the vehicle and the hatch opens up. To close it again, I simply push and hold for 2 more seconds. More beeping outside the vehicle and the hatch closes. And we see up here on the dash that it tells me my hatch is open. And now it's closed. So that is your trunk release for that. We've got our gas tank release. The gas tank is on the passenger side of the vehicle, and simply pushing that will unlatch the hatch on it. This button here is absolutely amazing. This is for your heated steering wheel. So you do have a leather wrapped steering wheel and it is heated. So if I push that, a light comes on. This tells me that my steering wheel is going to warm up. It's great for in the winter on those cold days so that you don't have to touch a cold steering wheel. We'll turn that back off for now. The all-wheel drive lock, as I mentioned to you, will stay locked in up to 40 kilometers an hour. After that, it doesn't stay on, it kicks off. However, the all-wheel drive will kick in as needed. Sport mode is if you need to get around somebody in a hurry. Simply hit sport mode, and below our park indicator, in brown we see the word sport. The RPMs are going to rev a little bit higher on the vehicle. However, you're going to have a little more response from the motor and a little more power. It gives you an opportunity to get out and around somebody in a hurry if you're running at a passing room. I do caution you to not drive in sport mode on a regular basis, as it is harder on gas. We also have eco mode down here. Eco turns the indicator to say eco in green. This will get you better fuel economy. Now with sport mode, if you turn the vehicle off, it disengages sport mode. With eco mode, if you turn the vehicle off, eco mode is going to be on the next time you turn the vehicle back on. You will get better gas mileage in eco mode. I will caution you, if you want to leave it on all the time, it's going to feel a little bit sluggish pulling away from a dead stop. Otherwise, this is a fantastic mode to leave it in if you want your gas to go as long as it can. We've got our settings for a mirror over here, for our side mirrors, and then we've got power windows and our power locks and the child safety lock for the power windows. Next up, we're going to have a look at our center display. As we look at our center display, this has a ton of features on it. Right away we notice that we've got a navigation system. Previous editions of the Rogue for the navigation system required an SD card, which would have been located right here. If you wanted to upgrade your navigation system, you had to purchase a new SD card, which was about $155 plus tax and shipping. Now, if you want to update your navigation system, you're simply going to go into settings. You're going to go to connections and to Wi-Fi. You want to make sure that you are close enough to connect to a Wi-Fi device. So we see there's lots here, although these ones are locked. And all you do is connect to a device, a Wi-Fi connection. From there, about 4 times a year, your Rogue is going to update your maps for you. There's no cost to it. It simply goes out and it finds the newest editions from Nissan, it updates the maps, and you're good to go. This is a huge improvement. There's no more cost associated with it, and it means that you've got up-to-date maps all the time. On the top left here, we've got our menu button. This takes us to our main screen. This screen is customizable. So from here, you can change what you want to change, again, just by going into the settings and then customize home menu. So it will allow you to pick the configuration that you want and what information you want to show on the screen there. We're going to come back out again. The map simply takes us back to our map. For the navigation, you want to hit destination. From there, you can do numerous things. You can enter a point of interest, and there's a lot of options that you can do here. They've picked out some of the more common categories, as well as a spot that you can spell the name or hit all categories. You can enter an actual address for where you're going. So if you know exactly where you're going, you just simply put the information in here. Now, if you are going to save a home location, I highly recommend saving something close by your house that you know how to get home from there. For example, if you're in Cole Harbour, it might be of interest to set Sobeys or Canadian Tire as a home destination. That way, in the unlikely event that somebody should end up taking your vehicle, if they hit the home, they're not getting to your house. I recommend this for all of my customers as a safety precaution. The same for your work. Put it something close by, but not the exact location. Otherwise, you can set whatever you like in here, and these are very, very good to follow. It will get you where you want to go with the best routes possible. The next one down here is the brightness for the screen. So right away I've set it to night, or I can go back to auto. Auto is a great way to do it because when your headlights come on, because it's getting dark out, your screen is going to flip over to that night view. And when it's bright enough out that your headlights don't need to be on, then it's going to be on this view here. We've got audio below that. So your audio gives you a lot of options here. We've got AM, FM, satellite radio, which as I mentioned is free for the first 3 months. Bluetooth, USB, and if a CD was in up the top here, then that would be an option as well. for the camera button, if I hit camera, it's going to give me a front view of the vehicle, so out the front, as well as a 360-degree bird's eye view around the vehicle. Now this screen is really nice if you're just parked and want to see what's directly in front of you. If you forget to turn this off when you start to drive, it will stay on either for 2 minutes from the time that you've turned it on, or until you hit 10 kilometers per hour, whichever comes first. The moment you hit either one of those conditions, this is automatically going to turn off because it is a distraction while you're driving. Now if I push this button again, the right view here shows me what's going on the passenger side of my vehicle, how I'm lined up, the distance between me. And one more will turn the camera back off. These two buttons here are your seek buttons on your radio. So it will allow you to find radio stations, whether it's satellite, FM. If you're on a Bluetooth device or a USB connected device or CD, that will skip tracks. And then we've got a back button. So everything that we do, if I want to go in here, I can simply use the back button here to get out instead of the touchscreen button. Down below, we've got our dual climate control. So right now, I've got it set for 21 degrees. If I had a passenger who liked a different temperature, they could simply turn on dual and set it a little warmer or cooler, whichever the case is. Once your passenger gets out, simply turn off the dual and everything resets to the driver's side. Auto will automatically turn on the fan to where it needs to be, as well as the airflow where it needs to be. So right now the fan is relatively low and my airflow is coming out of the vents. If I use the mode button just to show what's what, I see the vents and floor, the floor and the windshield, and back to the vents. Now I'm going to put it back to auto for a moment. With auto, as the vehicle warms up during the winter, that fan is going to dial up a fair bit as it warms up so that it'll help get you to the right temperature faster. As you get closer to that temperature that you've got set, that fan is going to dial back all on its own so that it hits a point where it's simply maintaining the temperature that needs to be. During the summer, it's going to be cool air that comes out, and it works on the same principle. You also have an option for air conditioning, which is very simple. Recycled air versus fresh air. You can simply put the air on the windshield itself by using that button. And your rear defrost button, on top of activating your rear defrost, automatically activates the heated side mirrors as well. Now, a feature I do want to point out with this, where you have a Tech Edition Rogue, you have intelligent climate control. So, personally, I leave my heated seats on all year long. In the summer, I have them on low. The rest of the time, I have them on high. I enjoy the heat. I also find that after a long drive, anything more than 20 minutes, it helps prevent stiffness from setting in because the heat promotes blood circulation. So because I leave my heated seats on all the time, when I use the remote start on the key fob, and I'll go over that in a moment, the vehicle remote starts. My seats are going to start warming up right away because I have the heated seat on already. If the temperature outside is below 3 degrees and your motor is cold, your seats start warming up, your vehicle starts warming up, it's going to put all the air up on the windshield to start defrosting that. It's going to automatically turn on the rear defrost to start defrosting your rear window and your side mirrors, and it's automatically going to turn on the heated steering wheel. These are all part of the intelligent climate control system. This is a fantastic way to get your vehicle ready first thing in the morning when you're heading out in the middle of the winter, so that when you step into the vehicle, everything is already warmed up and ready to go for you. Down below here, we've got our USB port. And then right here, we've got our heated seats. We can set it to low or high. Next up, we're going to have a look at Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, I don't have an Android phone with me. However, the only difference between the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay is that Android Auto requires you to download an app through the through Google Play for Android Auto, and then it works the exact same way as Apple CarPlay after that. So let's have a look. So down below here I've got my phone. I have an Apple phone. I'm going to plug in the cord for this to activate Apple CarPlay, and we're going to watch the screen here. So, a couple things are going to happen. Right away on my phone it says Apple CarPlay. On the screen here it also says Apple CarPlay. So I'm going to hit this. When I do this, I can see I have one missed call. I can access my music. I can access Google Maps, my messages, anything that I now have playing, a Nissan app that I have on my phone, podcasts, or WhatsApp. So these are all features that are currently on my phone, and it's showing me on the screen here. So from there, I can go through and access any one of those. And using the maps, so right away, it tells me home for me is about 9 minutes away. And if I want, I can get the directions for that. Destinations. And then I can hit home and go.
Starting route to home.
This works extremely
Proceed
well.
to the route. Then turn left onto Baker Drive.
So it does work really well. Now if I hit this button here, it takes me back to our main menu. And if I want to come right out of this, I can simply hit the home button or the menu button. It takes me back here, and Apple CarPlay is still an option with this. It really is a fantastic system. It makes life really simple. If for some reason your navigation system is not finding the destination that you're looking for, you can simply use Apple CarPlay and hook your map up to it. Now be aware, it is going to use a little bit of your data. It's not data intensive, but it will use a little bit. So please make sure that you're aware of that and that you do know that you are using some data beforehand so that it's not a surprise to you as some of your data moves down. One of the last things I want to show you before we step outside this beautiful vehicle to go over a couple last features is the beautiful panoramic moonroof that's on this. This is a huge roof that allows you and your passengers to see out and what's going on. It's absolutely amazing at nighttime when you can see all the stars. Now if we look at the button here, it says push to tilt. So I'm going to show you here what happens when I push to tilt. If I just push it up, so my sunroof portion of this acts as a vent. I use this all summer long to vent out my vehicle while it's parked. If I know it's not going to rain, that way when I get into the vehicle, it's not like a sauna. Push it one more time and it closes. So this next part is a little trickier. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but not much at all. So if I push this back, I see that this portion opens right up. So it drops down and it comes inside and opens up. Now the beauty of that is I can stop that anywhere along the way. So if I push it back forward again, it starts to close. However, I can stop it. Now the tricky part to this, and I'm going to open this up again to show you, there's actually 2 clicks to this button, and that's what takes a little getting used to, because if I push that too far back, I get the 2 clicks, and I can feel it because I'm used to it, but what happens after that first part is the screen starts to close. But again, I can close it I can stop it anywhere along the way, and that will close all the way over. So you want to get used to how that works, so that you simply get 1 click, and it only does what you want it to do. It's going to open the screen without opening the actual sunroof portion. So this is what the key fob looks like for this vehicle. We've got a number of buttons here. We've got our panic button. This is our hatch release for the trunk in the back. Again, same as the switch on the inside. If you hold this for 2 seconds, it will open up the back of the vehicle. Same thing to close it, just simply hold it for 2 seconds and it'll close. We have our unlock button here, which will unlock the vehicle. You need to push it once for just the driver's door, twice for the whole vehicle. Our lock button and the remote start. So to work the remote start, we're going to hit the lock, and then we're going to hold this for 5 seconds, and the vehicle starts for us. Now that will run for 10 minutes. If you need to extend this, you can extend it by 10 minutes from wherever it's at in the count. So for example, if it's been running for 7 minutes and you want to extend it, it'll go to the 17-minute mark. And you do that by hitting the lock button If you decide that you're not going anywhere and just want to shut it off, all we do is hit this top button here and the vehicle shuts back off. Now this key fob, as long as you've got it on you within about 3 feet of the door, we have an intelligent key system. For this, one push and there's a beep, unlocks the door that you're at, because there is one of these on the passenger side door as well. A second push unlocks the entire vehicle. So aside from just the driver's door being open, we now have a back door open as well, and the hatch. One more push on that button while all the doors are shut, and the whole thing locks for us. It is a great feature on this. Around the back for the gate, so we've got a button in under here that if I push that, it beeps 3 times to let me know that I need to move out of the way, and it opens the hatch. From there, if I look, there is a button right here on the inside. I'm simply going to push, same thing, 3 beeps, and it closes. However, I mentioned that we can also use the button on the key fob to do the same thing, but because you have the Tech Edition Rogue, it has kick motion activation. So under the center part of this vehicle, it's got to be between here and the same spot on this side. As long as I have the key fob on me or within 3 feet of the back, the same as the doors, I can simply give a kick in and out. I get the same 3 beeps and it opens it up. This is great if your hands are full and you need to put stuff in the back. Same thing, once you go to get your stuff out, your hands are full again. Another kick in underneath and it closes back up again. So you never have to worry about what to do if your hands are full or leaving it open while you run back in the house. Congratulations again on the purchase of your 2018 Nissan SV Tech Edition Rogue. Again, this is a magnificent vehicle. I absolutely love this vehicle and the features that it has on it. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I know that it goes over an awful lot of features and it is a lengthy video. However, there was a lot of features to go over. If you do have any questions after this video that you can call, text, or email me. All of my contact info will follow. I hope you enjoy this vehicle as much as I do, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.